The blonde bombers locking it down. I seen Lexie, 6 Lexies out there guarding Jackie Young. Get switched on to the big, then get switched on to Jewel Lloyd and lock everything down. There's 6 Lexies out there.
A'ja Wilson didn't just cross the line, she steamrolled right through it. In a play that would have gotten most NBA players fined or at least benched for being reckless, she reached over Lexie Hull like she was trying to swat a fly, clawed her from behind, and somehow didn't get called for a foul.
Over the back. Oh boy, jump ball is the call. Who's upset about that? Wow, watch this. That's a jump ball?
What did the refs decide? A jump ball. Are we serious right now? This wasn't just some mild contact in the paint. This was textbook over the back. You could have paused the footage, printed it, and handed it out at a coaching clinic labeled "What Not to Do." But instead, Lexie Hull had to get up, shake it off, and watch the refs hand Vegas a free possession they didn't earn. Now here's where things took a wild turn. Lexie didn't whine. She didn't argue. She just got mean. Like cold-blooded, "I'm not playing with you anymore" energy. On the very next possessions, Hull locked in on defense like she was in the NBA Finals. She didn't just play hard, she played smart. She boxed out, got in passing lanes, and straight up embarrassed the so-called super team. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson was looking more like Whistle Wilson. The only reason she even stayed in the game was because the refs apparently had her on their fantasy team. Wilson had nearly as many free throw attempts as the entire Fever squad combined. And what did she do with them? Dropped flashy points that didn't matter because her team was still getting absolutely demolished. But let's not pretend this was just a one-time cheap shot. This kind of play has been brewing between the Aces and the Fever.
I am in shock. I am in shock. The Indiana Fever just beat the Aces. The first win for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces since I was 22 years old.
Vegas has been hyped up as the WNBA's dynasty, like the Golden State Warriors of the league. But Indiana was done playing the underdog. Even without Caitlin Clark, they showed up like they were out for revenge, and Lexie Hull was the first to draw blood. And let's talk about that crowd. The moment Hull hit the floor and bounced back like a pro, the whole building felt it. This wasn't just a team playing hard. This was a team making a statement. Hull looked like she was ready to take on the entire Aces roster by herself. And honestly, with how they were playing, she probably could have. If you thought the drama ended there, buckle up. Because Hull's revenge tour didn't stop with that one moment. She kept making stops, grabbing boards, and setting up plays like it was personal. And for A'ja Wilson, every fake foul she drew just made her look more desperate. The Fever were cooking, and no amount of ref help could cool them down. The Aces were supposed to be the WNBA's unbeatable dynasty. But on that night, they looked like the Washington Generals playing against the Harlem Globetrotters, except sadder, slower, and somehow more confused. And just when it couldn't get more embarrassing, Indiana didn't just hold the lead, they obliterated Las Vegas from the very first whistle.
After the first quarter, this game was not close, never was close, never got close. What we saw from Lexie Hull tonight was very reminiscent of why we fell in love with Lexie last game. She was all over the place. Defensively, getting switched onto A'ja Wilson, fighting through it. Getting switched onto Nalissa Smith, fighting through it. Oh, you thought a switch with Nalissa Smith having the ball against you thought that was advantageous for you, didn't you, Las Vegas?
First quarter, Fever up 21-4. That's not a score, it's a warning label. And yes, that's with Caitlin Clark in street clothes. Vegas looked stunned. The Aces kept bricking layups while the Fever moved the ball like they'd secretly been practicing with the Spurs. Kelsey Mitchell was torching defenders. Aaliyah Boston was bodying people like she was in the paint with Joel Embiid, and Natasha Howard was out there playing like she was trying to win a job in the NBA's Western Conference. The Aces couldn't keep up, and their body language was louder than any scoreboard. And here's the part that sent the entire arena into a frenzy. Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, absolutely lost it on the sideline in the fourth quarter. You know it's bad when your coach gets teed up and the whole bench starts clapping like they just won the championship. Even Caitlin Clark was on her feet, fired up, loving every second of it. It was like a movie scene, the underdogs rising, the villain team unraveling, and the crowd going wild. But White had every reason to snap.
Stephanie White getting a technical foul in the game, which they are up by 23 points. Everybody in the venue, we're clapping it up. Caitlin Clark clapping it up.
Between the missed calls, phantom jump balls, and Asia Wilson's Oscar-worthy acting, the refs looked like they'd graduated from the James Harden School of Foul Baiting. Now here's the twist that shut everything down. The Fever didn't just hang on, they finished the job. They kept the foot on the gas, crushed every Aces comeback attempt, and refused to let up even in garbage time. Las Vegas scored a pathetic 7 points in the fourth quarter. That's not a slump, that's a full-blown systems failure. And through it all, Lexie Hull never let that missed foul call define her night. She stayed locked in, made Wilson work for every inch, and made sure that the Aces never had a chance to breathe. By now, most teams would have packed it in, blamed the refs, and called it a night. But the Fever, they played like they had something personal to prove. They were beating Vegas with fundamentals, teamwork, and actual basketball IQ, not just whistle hunting and highlight chasing. Let's rewind to just how rare this beatdown actually was. The Indiana Fever hadn't beaten the Las Vegas Aces in 16 straight games.
The Aces were the only team that they had not won at least one game to last season, meaning the Aces swept the Fever last season. They actually haven't won a game against the Aces in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is crazy. They are beating the #1 team in the league first. And then they go and beat the Aces, who they haven't won to in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark, which is just a testament to how this team is finally developing a rhythm.
That's nearly a decade of being stomped out like a leftover sparkler after the 4th of July. The Aces used to treat Indiana like a practice drill, but not this time. This time, they got stomped. Badly. This wasn't just a win, it was a historic collapse. The Aces shot a disgusting 26% from the field. That's worse than Shaq shooting threes. It was their worst offensive performance in 15 years. Think about that. This team was supposed to be elite, and Indiana turned them into a punchline. Even NBA teams would have called this a humiliation. You had Aaliyah Boston looking like Tim Duncan in his prime, calm, efficient, deadly. Kelsey Mitchell pulling up like Steph with zero conscience, and Natasha Howard? Oh, she was in beast mode. She posted a double-double, won the Commissioner's Cup MVP, and made it look easy. And don't forget Temi Fagbenle, getting blocks and steals like she was trying to win Defensive Player of the Year in one quarter. The Fever played so well together, it felt like they had one brain on the court. Every rotation, every switch, every pass, it was on point. They ran their sets like they'd stolen plays from the Denver Nuggets playbook. It was that smooth. But let's not pretend this was all basketball magic. There was still plenty of drama. You had Caitlin Clark, despite not playing, hyping up every big play from the bench like a college coach during March Madness. Her energy was contagious. Her leadership, unmatched. The team fed off it like it was fuel, and the cameras loved it, cutting to her every time Indiana scored like she was the director of the show. Meanwhile, the Aces bench looked like a funeral procession. Slumped shoulders, blank stares, no fight. The so-called dynasty looked cooked.
We handled business with the lead the last 2 games. That is a good sign. We built the lead. We never fell behind versus these scrubs. This was a good all-around team effort. I still would like us to play faster, but I believe when Caitlin Clark is out there, that's just naturally gonna happen.
Now let's talk about Asia Wilson's stat line, because at first glance it looks impressive. 29 points, 9 of 18 shooting, 11 for 13 from the free throw line. But let's be honest, those numbers were empty calories. She got more charity at the line than a GoFundMe page. And still, her team lost by nearly 30 points. That's not superstar impact. That's called stat padding while the house burns down. Here's where it gets even more ridiculous. The rest of the Aces completely vanished. Chelsea Gray, who some people actually had the nerve to compare to Caitlin Clark, finished with just 2 points, 5 turnovers, and exactly 0 moments of leadership.
Las Vegas Aces flat out stink. I don't know what I know they are regretting this Jewel Lloyd trade. Chelsea Gray's been awful this season. She's been awful too. She had 2 points, 3 rebounds, she stunk.
She looked like she forgot the game was televised. The rest of the Aces roster, 2 points here, 4 points there. like a sad group project where everyone forgot their part. Vegas fans might want to close their eyes here. The Aces shot 7 for 43 if you remove A'ja Wilson's makes. That's 16% shooting from the rest of the team. That's not championship basketball, that's G League preseason numbers. But here's the real gut punch. The Indiana Fever didn't just outscore Vegas. They outworked, outcoached, and outclassed them. This was no fluke, no lucky night. This was the culmination of chemistry, coaching, and grit finally coming together. And all without Caitlin Clark lacing up. Just imagine what happens when she returns. Launching logo threes and orchestrating the floor like Chris Paul with vision and actual rings in his future. Lexie Hull, the supposed role player, turned into a defensive wrecking ball. Her box out on Wilson didn't just expose the refs, it exposed the Aces. It told the entire WNBA, "We're not scared of you, we're coming for you, and your whistles can't save you now." Even Sophie Cunningham came in off the bench and delivered daggers, stealing the ball, knocking down shots, and shutting the Aces' run down before it even started. Let that sink in. The Indiana Fever held the defending champs to their worst game in over a decade. That's not just a win, that's a warning shot. The narrative has shifted, the power is tilting, and this time it's not going back. The Fever aren't just building a playoff contender, they're building a team no one wants to see in October. So if Vegas is still pretending to be the gold standard, somebody tell them their crown just got repossessed. If you're enjoying this content and would like to see more and support the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.